And staying in the region, our last story is about Zambia. It is grappling with a major environmental disaster. A toxic spill from a Chinese-owned copper mine has contaminated the Kafue River, a crucial lifeline for millions. The impact? Dead fish, destroyed farmlands, and entire communities cut off from clean water. The government is racing to contain the damage. But for those who depend on the river, the crisis is already devastating. How did this happen, and who will be held responsible? Our next report gets you all the details.
A river died overnight. That's how one Zambian described the catastrophic spill that has poisoned the Kafue River, the lifeline of millions. It wasn't just a disaster, it was a failure. A failure to protect and a failure to prevent. And at the center of it all is a Chinese-owned mining giant. On February 18th, a tailings dam holding acidic waste from the Sino-Metals Leach Zambia mine collapsed. 50 million litres of toxic mining waste spilled into the stream. The result, a poisoned river, a devastated ecosystem, and a crisis for millions who rely on the Kafue River for survival. This river was once full of life, but today it's a graveyard. Dead fish line the shores and farmland dried up from the toxic spill.
Prior to the 18th of February, this was a vibrant and alive river. We had cormorants, we had kingfishers, there was small masengas, the fishing was good. Now everything is dead. It's just like a totally dead river. It's unbelievable. Overnight, this river died.
The Chinese-owned mine poisoned more than just the water. It poisoned livelihoods. For farmers like Juliet Balaya, the disaster is deeply personal. Her fish pond, once teeming with life, is now a wasteland.
When I went to the fish pond, I found that the lime had flowed through the pond and all the fish had been swept away. I just stood in agony wondering what I would do about the money I spent on the project. I stood there watching because there was nothing I could do.
But she is not alone. Thousands of Zambian families have lost everything. The toxic spill forced the shutdown of Kitwe's water supply, cutting off 7,000 people from clean drinking water. And this is not just about Kitwe. The Kafue River feeds the homes of 5 million Zambians. What happens when the poison spreads? Zambia scrambled to contain the damage, deploying the Air Force to dump tons of lime into the river in a desperate attempt to neutralize the acid. Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema called for more help from experts. But this is a wound that cannot simply be covered up. The chairman of Sino-Metals Leach Zambia apologized, but the anger remains and the problem runs deeper than a single mine. Another scandal has surfaced. Another Chinese-owned mine in Zambia's copper belt tried to hide yet another acid spill. And in a horrifying revelation, a worker at that mine fell into acid and died. What did the mine do? It continued operations until 2 Chinese mine managers were arrested. So this isn't just an accident, it's a pattern. China has poured billions into Zambia's mining industry, extracting its copper, which is a key component in smartphones and other technology. But while China profits, Zambia suffers. Chinese companies have been accused of disregarding safety regulations, labor laws, and environmental protections. And Zambia is trapped, burdened by over $4 billion in Chinese debt that has forced it to beg for restructuring after defaulting in 2020. However, the people of Zambia have had enough. Environmentalists and citizens are all speaking up. Their question: when will Zambia come first? The world depends on Zambia's copper. China depends on Zambia's copper. But what about Zambia's people? The Kafue River may never be the same again. But the real question is, will Zambia break free from this toxic cycle of exploitation?
Do you think that Ukraine is at its weakest position?
This war is not about Ukraine.
Do you believe that your president was insulted? Yes or no question. Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.
Diplomacy will work?
Yes,
Do you think
will.
Russia will give up the territory if there is no ceasefire? Do you propose to keep fighting?
We are ready to resist.
Do you think there will be peace?
Many countries gave us 3 days.
President Trump said you don't have any cards.
We do not have another choice.
How do you keep fighting?
You ask me once again the same question.
Because you've not answered my question.
We have enough capacities to keep fighting.